Scientists found a virus where the cure is just as deadly as the disease. To stop it, you'd have to shut down the only thing keeping you alive. Hantavirus hijacks your immune system and turns it into a weapon against you. No vaccine, no antiviral, no cure. That's not an exaggeration. This video explains why, and why the answer is more disturbing than the virus. Rodents carry hantavirus their entire lives. They never get sick. They shed the virus silently, through urine, droppings, and saliva. You don't need to touch it. You don't need to be bitten. One breath in an enclosed space with dry droppings can be enough. The virus enters your lungs and begins replicating silently for weeks. For up to 3 weeks, you feel nothing. The virus is growing. Then everything changes at once. The body shifts into crisis. The mechanism is what makes hantavirus uniquely terrifying. Most viruses destroy cells directly. Hantavirus does something different. It targets the cell walls lining every blood vessel in your body. Your immune system detects the infection and floods it with attack signals. The immune response doesn't stop the damage, it becomes the damage. The cytokine storm makes blood vessel walls leak fluid into surrounding tissue. In HPS, fluid fills the lungs. The patient cannot breathe. Within hours, from mild fatigue to full respiratory failure. Which form kills you depends entirely on where in the world you live. In North America, the deer mouse is the primary carrier of HPS. Case fatality rate, 35 to 40%, more than 1 in 3. Stage 1 looks like flu. Stage 2, heart failure and fluid-filled lungs. In Europe and Asia, hantavirus attacks the kidneys instead of the lungs. The fatality rate ranges from under 1% to 15%, depending on the strain. 200,000 infections per year globally. Most are never diagnosed. We cured HIV, we beat COVID in a year. Hantavirus still has nothing. There are 4 reasons why, and they compound each other. 200,000 cases per year is too small a market to justify billions in development. The treatment window is so narrow it slams shut before diagnosis happens. By the time you're sick enough to go to hospital, the damage is already done. Suppressing the immune response during active infection can kill the patient. Hantavirus doesn't make lab mice sick. There is no usable animal model. Ribavirin works against one form. It fails completely against the other. Ventilator, ECMO, fluid management. These are the only tools that exist. 30 years of research. The cure box is still empty. The answer reveals something uncomfortable about how medical research actually works. In 2024, monoclonal antibodies neutralized the virus in animal studies. A DNA vaccine teaches the immune system to recognize the virus before infection. South Korea and China have approved vaccines. The West has nothing. Repurposed autoimmune drugs may be the fastest path to blunting the cytokine storm. Prevention is the only tool available to most people right now. This virus cannot spread person to person. Every case comes from rodent exposure. Deer mice have expanded their range 40% in 20 years. The risk is rising. The cabin you rented, the garage you cleaned. The risk may already be there. Wet the area before cleaning. N95 mask on. Never sweep it dry. A deer mouse fits through a gap the size of a dime. Seal everything. If you had rodent exposure, tell your doctor specifically. They won't assume it. Flooded lungs? No vaccine, no antiviral, no cure. Your immune system did this. The cure is as deadly as the disease. That equation still has no solution. You started this video not knowing the mechanism. Now you do. This isn't a failure of medicine. It's biology operating at its absolute limit. The answer is time. The right molecule, the precise window, the immunomodulator. Until then, knowledge is the only shield available. N95 mask, spray bottle. One habit that separates exposure from safety. Don't sweep it dry, wet it first. That single choice can save your life. Send this to someone who spends time in rural areas or old buildings. Not a warning, information they can actually use. Like and subscribe. More science that explains what's happening inside your body. The virus is unsolved. The paradox remains. Biology has no easy answer here. A deer mouse fits through a gap the size of a dime. That's all it takes. Sealed container, safe. Open container, the mouse goes straight for it. Move the woodpile away from the house. Remove the nesting ground entirely. Within 6 weeks of exposure, tell your doctor. Use those exact words. Hantavirus isn't on most diagnostic checklists. You have to put it there. Early supportive care produces a better outcome. Late diagnosis doesn't. Supportive care can clear the lungs, but only if treatment starts in time. In 2024, a monoclonal antibody is closing in on the virus in the lab. Phase 1 trials are complete. Phases 2 and 3 are still ahead. The fastest path: drugs already approved for autoimmune disease, repurposed. The safety profiles already exist. The drugs already exist. The gap is application. An immunomodulator pushes back against the storm, and the storm shrinks. 1 in 200,000. Most never diagnosed. Most doctors never consider it. The gap between what science knows and what individuals know is where people die. You now know something most people, and many doctors, don't. Equipped at the cabin door. Mask on. Spray bottle ready. This is preparation. 3 rules. Don't sweep dry. Wet first. N95 on. That's the entire protocol. Urban or rural, the information travels. The risk doesn't care where you live. This is information, not fear. Information you can actually act on. More science that explains what's actually happening inside your body. Virus versus immune system. Biology at its absolute limit. No winner yet. 30 years of milestones. The cure box at the end is still empty. 3 research targets remain: the right molecule, the window, the immunomodulator. The paradox remains perfectly balanced. Disease and cure, equally dangerous. The deer-mouse range has expanded 40%. The probability is higher than it's ever been. The risk is invisible from outside. The mouse may already be in there. N95 only. The virus is too small for surgical masks. This distinction matters. 6 weeks. That's your window to tell your doctor before the trail goes cold. Flu symptoms at the top of the chart. Hantavirus rarely reaches the bottom. Flooded lungs, no vaccine, no antiviral, no cure. 3 cold facts. The paradox equation makes sense now. Biology operating at its limit. Not medicine's failure, a description of biology working exactly as designed. Time is the only variable. The milestones are waiting to be reached. Knowledge stands between the virus and everyone who doesn't have it yet. Before, dry broom, no mask, full exposure. After, spray bottle, N95, protected. City or wilderness, the same information protects both. One finger on send. Not a warning, as information they can use. Heart, lungs, liver, brain, more science that explains what's happening inside. Walking forward. Knowledge on your back. The virus small and distant behind. Subscribe. Science that explains what's actually happening inside your body. You came in without the mechanism. You're leaving with it. That's not nothing.